Hey, you know, there are lots of jobs out there where you need to have a computer with you everywhere you go. Like if you're a guy that's in a shop spraying lacquer on furniture all day, probably don't need one. But if you're a business person out traveling all the time, a small notebook is going to be perfect for you. And these netbooks have been waiting for one thing, to be awesome, and that's Windows 7. And it's here. These are the new Acer Aspire ones. We're going to show them to you here in just a sec. Hey, you know, the Acer Aspire 1 is one of the netbooks that started the entire netbook craze, okay? They've always been thin, they've always been light, they've always been diminutive in size. But what they've been lacking is a modern operating system. They were never really able to run Vista very well. Most of them came pre-installed with Windows XP. Now that Windows 7 is here, Windows 7 is running beautifully on netbooks, and these new Acer Aspire 1s really show off how incredible Windows 7 truly is. Now, these are the brand new Acer Aspire 1s. They are a bit thinner than the ones that you might be used to seeing. Other than that, most of their specs are very, very similar, but this one happens to have a 6-cell battery, which is going to buy you about 8 hours of battery life on this netbook. So if you are a traveler, you're going to have absolutely no problem getting on a plane. You could even look at, some shorter international flights and still never run out of battery power. And if you grab a second battery, you're talking about 16 hours of uninterrupted flying or traveling time or whatever you want to do with this very small netbook. It's got an Intel N270 1.6 gigahertz Atom processor under the hood, 1 gig of DDR2 RAM. It does come with Windows 7 Starter Edition, which simply removes some of the more server type features, leaving it as more of a client operating system, but it's probably something you're not even going to notice ever using it. It does have a 250 gigabyte hard drive, 10.1-inch 1024 by 600 screen located right here. The trackpad is multi-gesture, so you are going to be able to use multiple fingers on the trackpad, and it is going to be able to recognize those. As I said, 6-cell battery, up to 8 hours of battery life, wireless B and wireless G also integrated. So it's a lot in a very, very small package. Now, of course, it does have the integrated webcam. It does have a nice glossy screen, as I said, 10.1 inches. Nice keyboard. One of the things that they have figured out with the netbooks is that by sort of changing the size of keys and shifting things around a little bit, they've gotten these keyboards to the point where they're very, very comfortable to type on. So if that's a worry for you, you probably don't have to worry about it. And of course, you also have your trackpad right down here. It does look like it has one button, but it is 2 buttons. Simply touch on either side. This is your left click. This is your right click right over here. So let me go ahead and show you around this thing right now. Up here in the front, the only thing you're going to find is a switch to turn your wireless on and off, something that's very handy when you're trying to save battery life. Over on the left-hand side, you are going to find headphone and microphone ports, as well as VGA, USB, and Ethernet located right over here. And over on the right-hand side is where you're going to find a couple more USB ports, an SD card reader, and you've got a power port located right over here. So it is not changing up a lot hardware-wise from the Acer Aspire 1s that you've seen recently. However, it is preloaded with Windows 7, so it is going to perform significantly better. And when you compare the price of a Windows 7 license to the price of a netbook, it starts to kind of look like a no-brainer. It is available in a few different colors here. You do have white, you do have blue, and of course you do have red for the brand new Acer Aspire 1. So there you have it. If you've been thinking about it, if you've been on the fence about buying a netbook, if you've been waiting for Windows 7, the time is here. Time is now. Go ahead and go for it. It's the Acer Aspire 1 model AOD250. It's out. Go have a look at it. To get more info on the Acer Aspire 1 model AOD250, available in red, white, or blue, go to computertv and search for Acer Aspire 1 AOD250. For Computer TV, I'm Bauer.